What's poppin', man? It's Waka Flocka, man. Let's talk about it, Black Ink. You know what we on. You know what it's about, man. Squad.
What's up? Let's talk about it, Black Ink.
This is Rashad from Earn Your Leisure. Big shout out to Let's Talk About It, Black Ink.
Yeah.
Unite, educate, and empower our culture and communities. I'm your host, Sage. Before we get into our topic for today, I want to introduce our guests we have with us this week. Hey. We have Low Key Nadia in the building from Low Key Communications. How you doing?
Oh, I'm so grateful today.
Hey.
The energy in the studio.
Yes.
Come on.
Yes. Joining us this week, we have Keisha Sullivan from KS Consulting, LA, joining us in the house in Atlanta.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for having me.
All right.
Looking forward to
Welcome, Eve Monroe. We got Auntie Ev in the house today from Monroe Realties. How are you today?
I'm good. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Good. I'm excited.
Yes.
I'm excited.
Where's the fellas at now?
Hey,
It's the all ladies crew today.
It's all ladies, but shout out first and foremost our co-host Rich Mo, CEO of Black Ink Radio and event manager at Black Ink Atlanta, Black Ink Crew. Also Kevin versus Floyd. Big shout out to Kevin Floyd and congratulations. He couldn't be with us this week. He's giving birth, y'all. So
Oh, yes. Baby girl, right?
baby girl.
Wow. What a
Yes,
blessing.
we're welcoming Kalia.
Another
into this
queen to this world. Yes.
That's right.
Yes. And also Reef Rose, Glow Geisha, Chase Flo, and Uncle MJ, always with us in spirit and heart. Yes. Let's get into it, y'all. So, Keys, we're going to start with Miss Sullivan over here. Is going to give us a recap on the Super Bowl. How was it?
Man, it was cool, you know. I mean, I've been to four cities, one actual Super Bowl game. But you know, I'm from the Bay Area, but I consider myself an LA native because I've been there almost 20 years. But I just feel like I feel like LA kind of got the short end of the stick, just because of COVID and the whole alert not to come to LA kind of thing. It was cool. It just the momentum. I didn't really feel the momentum. Like usually, as soon as you touch down, you can feel it. But and there was still all of the events that usually take place. The more highly anticipated events were cool, but I had a good time. I mean, shout out to everybody that accommodated us.
Yes, they did accommodate us.
Yeah.
You want to shout them out? It looked beautiful, though. I have to say that.
Yeah. So starting with the NFL gifting suite that was put on by Melissa McAvoy and a good friend of mine, Mimi, and Cypher Junkie. Shout out to Cypher Junkie.
Cypher Junkie, thank you.
That is Alex. It was cool. We were out there, working with Indago, Snoop's gin brand. Yes, Snoop has a gin brand.
Okay. I didn't know. Look,
a lot of people, were like, oh, we didn't know. So that's kind of where we came in at. I was hired for the week to do some stuff with them. And then testing. Okay.
Yeah, I'm good.
We're just making sure we can hear everybody. You got a beautiful voice, mommy. I'm just making sure we can hear everybody.
Thank you. Appreciate that. And then, I won't be super long-winded about Super Bowl, but I was out there for 6 days. And then what else did we do? We did the NFL suite. We did I don't know if you guys have seen it, the Genius documentary with Kanye.
I did watch it. Listen,
I haven't watched it yet. Oh,
listen,
don't spoil it, please.
I'm not going to spoil it. All I can say
Instagram stories already did.
All I can say is the only reason why I watched it or I even knew about it, I have to shout out my mastermind crew. Someone posted in our Discord that said, if David Shan didn't inspire us this week, Kanye West documentary is a follow-up.
For sure.
And if that don't inspire you, you're just a loser. That's what that is.
Well, after screening, they just had quick snippets of it, but
what's the overview of the documentary?
Kanye, the mastermind, was like a gallery. So
you think that?
Yeah, we went to we were screening. Yeah, we were in the building for the screening. So shout out to Netflix.
Nice to meet you. You were in the room.
But it was cool. It was real cool. And then Cootie and
please watch it. Please watch it.
Cootie, and I'm sorry I forget his right hand's name who directed it. But it was great.
It was emotional for me because I gained a quite deal of respect for Kanye watching. This is before he reached his success, and he knew he was going to be exactly where he was. He manifested it every step of the way. The doors that were shut in his face, his hunger and his thirst, and I understand why he misses his mother so much now. Did you see the episode? It's just like, Kanye, I told you to rap this when she knew every word of the song. She was like, do this when Kanye, and he was.
She was low-key as A&R. She
was amazing.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Oh,
And then just to
that.
see how long, you know, none of that footage has been released. That footage is over 20 years old. And then to see rappers like Talib Kweli, Mos Def, and like they're younger, Beyonce backstage.
Yes.
I'm like, oh my gosh. Like
before he was signed to Rock Nation, and before he was with Jay and them, I'm at the doors. I mean, it's transparent. All of it is transparent. When he was broke.
Yep. Now they would call the footage like bootleg style
Right,
footage,
right,
but
right.
it's raw footage.
Raw.
Like raw
BTS.
footage.
Wow.
Of them following them, going in every room, and they were playing songs that was amazing when he went in there, and
He
he
was
was
like,
showing. He
y'all
was
gonna
like,
hear
listen
me?
to this.
Yeah, he was like, y'all gonna hear me.
And they were just like,
Yeah, because they had already identified him as a producer.
as a
'cause he
producer,
produced on Jay-Z's
and they
album.
wanted him to keep producing good music for the artist. They didn't want to see him as
First
an
of
actual
all,
artist.
his marketer is so smart because he's going through a divorce right now. So to put
Is
something
he?
out where you get to
Wait, from
see
the Dashing?
Yeah,
he's going through a divorce.
it's a whole thing.
So to put something out where you get to see the raw Kanye is it's a balance of who he really is. Then you get to truly decide who you really like. Because, you know, Kanye, you know, I love Kanye, but, you know,
I love Kanye.
And I thought about, I'm like, I wonder why he didn't put this out after Donda passed away, like shortly after. It's been
Did you
years.
see? Because he wasn't even recording. It was a friend of his. Because I know he
Cooley.
made a statement. Yeah,
Cooley's
he
the
was
director.
like,
That's the narrator.
because he was actually the narrator was actually sharing, you know, what he learned from Kanye in that documentary. But he was motivated behind the community, and everything that he experienced in the community is what he put in his song. So the Black experience, he said he did not want to rap about things that didn't benefit our culture and community. He didn't
And
want to
that's
be
the
out
yeah
there
that I
talking
miss.
about the drugs. He didn't want to talk about him killing and murdering people.
Right.
He didn't want to talk about any
Right.
of those things.
And he could have easily.
So he shared his experience in his music, and that was beautiful that he stayed true to just that.
Shout out to Graduation,
Hence, you know,
the best
Jesus
album
Walks
ever
with
made.
Me. Yeah.
Shout out to
Ever.
Kanye.
Yeah. Period.
Kanye,
Right.
we love you.
We
over
love
here,
you,
It's a
Kanye.
trilogy. It's 3. So if you get a chance to catch it, it's
And I love the
gotta
way how
watch it.
patient his mom
Oh,
was
my
with him when they were
gosh.
saying he was arrogant, and
Beautiful
he,
spirit.
well, even though, you know, Kanye, you're a little arrogant, but he was like, Mom, you think I'm arrogant too?
Yeah.
And opposed to her saying yes, she said, well, Kanye has always been self-absorbed.
sound like-
Yeah, she was, but you know how she
You practice her voice.
Wait, no,
Yes.
it was
Yeah.
beautiful to me because, hey, I had an arrogant son. Opposed to me saying arrogant, she told me I could have just said, you have always been self-absorbed, and put it in a different way that he smiled and chuckled.
Ain't that a black woman
But-
to go
but
ahead
then-
and reiterate something like that
She
so beautifully? Such a black woman.
But she was an
yes.
educator, so she knew what to say. I wasn't an
Yeah.
But
educator.
she also said, you know, and rightfully so, because you're a superstar, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah,
So
she was like, he was
she
always
was like-
self-absorbed.
Yeah, she was like, you gotta be though, because you're a superstar.
I love that.
So it was. That
So
was
you got
my
to experience
favorite.
all of that in Super Bowl. That's what's
So
up.
shout out to Team Epiphany. Shout out to Netflix.
Come on now.
Strong Black Lead, which is an
Yes.
auxiliary of Netflix
Yes, it
now
is.
that highlights
Oh,
all
wow.
of the
Yes,
That's
we're
how
gonna
we
be
got
on
the
Netflix real
Moesha.
soon.
Sade.
Yes.
Sade.
We will be on Netflix real soon.
Shout out to Sade Jenkins, who is just doing phenomenal things over there at Netflix. So yeah, it was good. And then we went to what else did we do? We did Maxim. We did Shaq's Funhouse.
wow.
Shout out to Sean for that. That's a really good event as well. Sports Illustrated too. So shout out to everybody that accommodated. Let's talk about it.
Go ahead, girl. I know
Hey.
your footage and your phone is crazy. I know you got some. I gotta make sure I follow you now. I know her Instagram is balling. Like she just named like 6 different rooms.
You know what's crazy though? Keish don't be having time for nothing social media. She be moving about, weaving, and bobbing.
Till it's time.
You know
Until
what?
it's
I
time.
got some advice this morning. Every person of influence needs to learn how to market
what?
themselves.
That's true.
'cause everybody here markets
That's true.
something else.
That's
Publicist
true.
That needs
The publicist, yep. The marketer
PR,
needs a marketer.
Took me
And
years
you-
to learn that.
And hey,
To digest
in the
it.
words of Donnie Wiggins, shout out to my other mentor, who said, hey, every coach need a coach.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's true.
So, you know what I mean? She was like, listen, If the person you pay is not paying someone to coach them,
Yes,
Hello.
don't hire them as a coach.
Yeah.
Come on, Donnie.
Yeah.
That's good.
Come on.
That's
I was like,
good.
well, if that's the case, I paid for like 12.
Right, exactly.
So by the time I'm done, I should be excellent.
Yeah. No, seriously. Pour into me so I can pour into them.
Yes.
Seriously.
Yes.
Balance.
So we're going to get into one of my favorite topics. First and foremost, though, I guess we should do a recap of the mastermind. Can we do that
I
first?
want to hear all about it.
The mastermind. Well, it started off Thursday, and we were all day in that room. So I was on kind of like information overload. But it was a beautiful experience. That day was really, really good. Shout out to all my mastermind brothers and sisters. Shout out to David Shands, right? For keeping his word.
Right.
He's awesome.
He's a man of his word. He's a man that
awesome.
really cares. He's a man who's invested in his people. He is. He went over and above and beyond with this mastermind. With the morning meetup, he went over above and beyond. We're giving us
feel it.
quality
Just clap it
food.
up.
He had
We
a
don't have to
personal
sound like
caterer.
that. Just clap it
He
up.
did.
Right.
Come on, Dave. Dave did.
Yeah. He's awesome.
Great guy.
Dave
Most
went
important
in.
thing you said, a man of his word.
A man of his
Hey,
word
clap,
is very,
come on.
very important.
Yeah.
Everybody need to go join the morning meetup, though. We talked about investing in wealth this week, and what I learned, and this was really, really, we mentioned this earlier. David spoke about how people would charge $1 back.
Wait, what?
Oh, yes. That's a
It's
head
not
scratcher.
funny. He had made the morning
It's not
meetup.
funny, but it's
Listen,
funny.
because everybody, and I won't say everybody, because a part of being a great leader is knowing that everything is not for everybody, right? So in understanding that, anyone who is aspiring to be an entrepreneur, aspiring to obtain some type of wealth, or leave some type of legacy, go and join the morning meetup, right? So it was $1.
Yeah.
He made it $1 because this man really believes in building community. It's a shirt right here. Community,
Okay, man.
right? And giving some real good game. Who charges back $1?
Yeah. And then that's an investment.
Wait, what you mean? Wait. Because there might be people listening that might be slow like me. What you mean by charging back?
So I was just telling Salima, I watch Social Proof. So, well, aka Sleepers for Suckers, shout out to either or. But I always just say Social Proof. But I was watching the show, actually with his mentor.
Hey, I was just telling which one, because he has a couple. He has Nas and he has Myron. Myron Golden,
I do believe it was Myron.
the older guy.
Ooh, I don't want to misquote. Yeah, he's
Okay,
older, yeah.
Myron.
So a lot of times I'll just let it play. I'll be washing dishes, cleaning up. So this was that. So I don't even know what he looked
Okay.
like, but everything he was saying was like spot on. And yeah, and so David was telling me about the mastermind.
He was talking about premium prices and when. Do you know when to scale, how to scale your business up?
Yeah, and he was saying
Pretty
at some
much.
point he kind of started. There was people telling him like, you know, it just seems like you're just charging for this and that and that and that. And he's like, I don't want people to have that perception of me. He's like, so I'm like, let me go, you know, the $1. He's like, but
Super low.
He was like, but you'd be surprised, you know, people charge $1 back.
Yep.
And he said he had another person who was like, okay, I'm about to do it. Like I'm about to sign up.
It was
And it's
only for
like,
$1 though.
Yeah,
I'm about
yeah,
to do it.
Yeah, yeah. Like hit him up and ask him questions about it.
Wait.
And then
Wait,
down the
I
line,
don't
and then like a
Right.
week later was like, okay, I'm gonna do it now. Like, you know,
Because
so it's just
Myron was trying to get him
You mean the $1 that they swipe with their Discover card?
Listen.
And then they charge it back?
$1.
I'm so confused.
David
Not even.
ain't taking no cash for a master.
Wait, this was the part that
Or a
Myron was, because
No
Myron's
cash
his
app.
coach, right? And he's in Myron program. So Myron is basically going to show him how to scale his business.
Yeah.
Now, David always admits, I suck at sales. He's like, I am not a salesperson.
Yeah.
You do a whole lot of things for free. Right? Sort of kind of remind me of myself. A whole lot of it, because if you can give it away for free, you'll give it away.
Yeah.
However, you have to make a living. So that's what Myron pretty much is teaching him. In that process, Myron was explaining to him why the value of that $1 is no value in it. So people automatically, their nature feel like this is $1. It can't be that valuable.
Yes, that's exactly
That's true.
what he said.
That's true. Because
So this
because
is why
your
people get
prices is a part of
scammed
your
out.
branding.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
Like, what is it really?
And David
about?
was like,
Just $1.
$1.
They-
And
you
he
know,
was
that's-
But
charging
that's
back.
where the trial comes in. Why don't you try it out, see for yourself, so you can assess if it was And even if you don't deem it as being worth $1, that doesn't give you the right to go and charge. But that's just a waste of time. Like, who even has that much time to do that? That's ridiculous.
But that's the truth.
It's a
People get
mindset.
taxed more than that every day.
It's a mindset.
It is a mindset.
It is. That's yeah.
You like, it's like what they say.
Story.
Like, you pay. People assume that, like, oh well, it was cheap, so you pay what you pay what you get. Like, if I go to the dollar store, get a toothbrush versus going to get one at Target, like, oh, it broke in 2 days to pay. But I don't think David. I think the quality of David's essence is like, how dare you?
Yeah,
almost.
absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that's how I almost feel disrespected, and I'm not even David
That's what
Shane.
I said.
And guess what else it
that's
did?
disrespectful.
It gave him the determination to scale his business. I don't feel sorry for you.
I know that's right. I know that's right.
I gave
It's
it to
now
you for $1 per year.
That's the lesson.
$2 going up, price going up.
That's right.
$2.50.
Because the notion is that people, like you said, people will pay. You know, the whole thought process behind that is it's just marketing. You know
It's
what
marketing.
I mean? So
It is.
it's
Your
like
price has everything to do. I learned that the hard way too. I mean, especially in, you know, what David does. I mean, everybody here is in communication of some sort. And I tell people that if you open up a business after pandemic, you're in communications, no matter what you do. Because we're all digital. So how are you getting across? You're all digital. And so with somebody like David, I can see how that can be hard to scale with somebody of his caliber. You know, I can see how it would be. How do you charge for a podcast that everybody watches? How do you know what I'm saying? So, but then, like, when we were there with the dinner thing, he said, like, you know, I ain't gonna lie, I do the podcast selfishly. Thanks for watching. You know, thanks for coming on my selfish, but I really am interviewing so I can learn. Y'all just get to watch it.
Hello.
Exactly.
And that's
Segue into give us a few takeaways
Oh my God.
that you took away.
First of all, shout out to Sage. Shout out to Sage. She is the connector. A lot of people sleep.
Sleep is for suckers.
Sleep is no pun intended, but all puns. Sage invited us super last minute, and that's how I knew we had to get up and go. We're like, come on, we gotta do our hair. Put your lip on, do your eyes, do that. Link, let's go. Hurry up. Get gas in the car, right? But she invited us to the
Social Proof 7 dinner. Yeah.
We got to watch like a live recording, and we all watched like his like I literally watched his stuff like that morning and used some of that advice for my client.
Right,
like,
right, yeah.
But just being in the room, I loved bringing my mom, first of all. For sure, because everybody else lives here in Atlanta, so we see like how black wealth moves in the room. So I'm used to seeing like a room full of black people. I be forgetting the others. I'm just like, I'm not gonna lie, I forget that, not even the others, but I forget that we don't dominate because I'm always in rooms where we're the number one. So that was awesome. They had vegan options. I was happy, but the conversation was. It was awesome because it made me uncomfortable because I knew nothing about what they were talking about. I only know money to like a certain extent. And I felt like, yes, I'm finally doing what I preach to everybody. Don't be in rooms where you're the 10. Don't be in rooms where you're the 10.
Don't be in rooms when you're the
smartest. Be in room where you know nothing. And I felt and then like just like seeing us three like, you know, just sit together and get that knowledge. And it was just like, wow, I'm really like, we doing this. That's how I found out. And even with David asking certain questions, I mean, it was one woman on there.
Tradeandtravel.com.
Yes,
Come on,
look, she remember. Look.
Okay, I need to take notes.
Come on, take notes. I brought my notes for a doctor.
And I got my notes.
Yes.
Oh, shoot.
Give me a takeaway. Let's get a takeaway. Come on, what she do?
Look.
I'm excited.
One thing that she said, and there's no bias, but she was the woman, so my ears automatically listen, black woman. But one thing she said is that, what are you gonna do if you can't manage $1,000, but you asking God for $100,000?
Come on now.
And I'm like, my goodness.
That's old school. Yeah,
That's old school.
My granny used to drill
right.
that in us.
And I'm like, you know, just for I was just telling my friends this too. You know, it's in my DNA to learn and then share. So I like literally learn and I teach, learn and I teach. I experience and I teach. And when she said that, it automatically made me look at the finances that I currently have. And like, you keep manifesting this, but have you managed this $20 yet? Like, did you really
you
budget
imagine that counting sheet that you had back when?
Did I get it right here? For real.
Did I really need that pair of shoes?
No, seriously. And I think, and then the other two, and I'm gonna let mom, because I know mom got gems for days. She's still on the gems. She's waking up. She's like, I got Bitcoin on my mind. I dreamt about Bitcoin last night. I'm like, Mom, go to bed. Come on. But the one other thing was, no, literally.
I love it.
The one other thing was, take the emotions out of money.
Come on.
Yeah.
And I'm an emotional, I'm a woman, first of all. I'm a squishy plumpy, nice, thick woman.
Slim thick vegan. Slim thick vegan.
on
We
the
got the
way.
product coming to you real soon, okay?
Slim thick vegan, and I'm also super spiritual, so I'm super empathetic. I like people. I genuinely like people, so I feel everything, even money.
Yes. No,
Shout out
I'm
to
with
Air.
you.
Shout out
Shout out
to
to
Air
Air.
Signs.
So when she said, I don't know if it was her or the dude. I think it might have been the dude who said that. I wasn't
Is that
sure.
Kevin? Because we have to get the names right.
Yeah, Kevin.
We do have the names right. My
Come
bad.
on now, Eve. Kevin.
Right, she been I'm like, mommy been thinking about it. She been dreaming about the mastermind.
Remove
But
the emotions out of money.
take
Come
the
on.
emotions out of money was probably the biggest thing, because I literally, just a transparent moment, I literally just lost a client. I had him for maybe 3 weeks. I came home crying because I couldn't deal with the type of client that he was. Like, my business is ran by me. So if I can't get with you, nobody on my team's gonna be able to
Oh,
get with you.
man.
Protect your peace, first
And
foremost.
wait, and the money was good.
Can I actually?
guess what?
Go ahead. I'll let you go.
Not all money is good
See,
money.
look, and
Right.
as an entrepreneur, that's like the gotta keep the lights on, right?
Yep.
So now I'm at a point in my career, I'm like, you know what? As my girl needs to say, all money's not good
All
money.
money's not good money.
If
Yep.
the synergies don't align,
Right.
it doesn't make sense for me to continue to keep the ball rolling
Listen.
when it doesn't fulfill me first and
Listen.
foremost. There's someone out there for him that will.
Listen.
And there'll be someone else that'll come along for you that'll have something even bigger.
The emotions
that
part
part.
was so
Yeah,
hard too,
part.
because what I do, so
Because you're an empath.
I'm an empath, but my
Yeah.
business is based. I'm a holistic marketer. First of all, that's a whole new lane of marketing.
Yes.
The corporate
Come
America
on,
don't
Mitch.
like me
They
because
don't. Right.
I don't
Come on,
teach what they
Mitch.
teach.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm very, very targeted who I'm. And I welcome spirituality. I welcome feelings. I welcome moving your business off of passion.
Come on now.
I welcome that. So when I got there and I'm like, his vibe through my A game, I'm like, you know, I don't know if I'm allowed to say that, but I'm like, I'm doing this right.
Yes,
Why can't I talk to? And I'm like, oh wait, that's something I gotta finish healing from, because I'm
Yes,
thinking
come
that
on,
I gotta be
recognizing
like
the
that
healing.
to be able
You don't
to
have to
get
match-
$6,000 a month from
You
one
don't- you
person.
don't have to
Please.
match.
Can I do the dance?
Right.
Yeah,
Do
you
the
don't
dance.
have
And the
to-
segue in there, right?
Yeah.
Listen, and that's one of the things that I appreciated from this week. Like I was sharing with LaCour and Kayla when I came in earlier, I found 3 valuable things that I learned that I never ever heard before. But it was confirmation for me. A lot of things that was said. What was relatable was that sentence when he said, "Remove emotions from money," because I felt like I always lived that way. I give because I'm not attached to the money.
That's right. Because we know
I know who I serve. I know who's bringing it back. I'm not
That's right.
attached
That's
to it.
right.
And
It's like, take it.
what was so emotional about what she said is that I think we even got to be careful how fast money can come in, because that's an emotion too. Excitement is an emotion.
Listen.
Yeah.
Like I'll give you this contract right now. You got to just do X, Y, and Z, sign it. But that's an emotion.
It's the
Listen,
attachment
be careful.
to
It's an
money.
emotion that Ronnie said this week, which I learned from her that I agree so wholeheartedly with, when she said, we have to know what you just did, when to leave the money on the table. Leave some money on the
Yes.
table. Know what's for you and what's not for you.
Yes.
Right?
Yep.
You know someone coming, the money might be good and you may need it, but know when it doesn't appease to your
Yeah.
business
Yes.
and you might pass it on. I can reference somebody else to you.
Seriously.
It's not for you.
It's not. No,
Yeah.
it's not.
It's not for your brand. So
Yeah.
know when to leave some money on the table.
A wise man once told me that increases your value too.
Oh, yeah.
By being
Oh, yeah.
that much in demand,
yeah.
where you can leave money on the table.
Oh, yeah.
Not even necessarily being in demand. It could be one person. It could be 10 people.
Yep.
You leave the money on the table, or leave whatever it is on the table. That then enhances your value.
Definitely.
And
So
it
that
creates
was
element of surprise.
that was like the 2 biggest takeaways. Of course, everything in there was everything.
Was
I
a
know-
takeaway. Yeah.
I know Mom got.
Come on, Mom. Come on.
I know you got a lot.
Come on,
Go
Auntie.
ahead. Because she
Give
wake
us
up
some
telling you she dreaming
takeaways.
about
Give
Bitcoin,
us-
y'all.
come
I'm
on.
not lying.
Give us some takeaways.
So, first of all, thank you for inviting me.
Oh.
It was a blessing.
Oh,
It was a blessing.
beautiful.
I came here for a long weekend. It's been a month.
Hello.
Don't even want to go back to Philly. I don't even know what the weather is, but I know it ain't nice.
I know. Right. That part.
But the takeaway for me was a few things. One, Brother Kevin, when he was saying budget. Budget. That's not something that we're taught.
Right.
That's something I had to learn.
Yeah.
Nice.
Okay, so, and now with my children, and they're all grown, that's the baby, but, and now the grandbabies, but budget. Because we have a tendency, like the prime example that he stated about being in college and getting credit cards. They're giving out credit cards to people that don't have a job.
Right.
I know. It's
At 25, 29% interest, you don't even know what that looks like.
Right.
You know what I mean? So with my children, and I'm definitely was a victim of that in my younger years. I had to learn the hard way, but I learned. And some of your, hardest lessons financially are the ones that you learn the hardest. But, you know, it's one thing to learn that lesson in your 20s. It's another thing to learn that lesson in your 50s. So if I can avoid that, you know, pass that knowledge on to my children when they went to college, that's not where you want to go. You know, but budget was a big one for me.
Question for you. At what age, if you don't mind me asking, what do you feel like you're like, okay, I need to start teaching my children the things that I didn't.
So
all her life, all her life. My mom said that all the time,
and that's okay.
Her model. Can I just say something?
I think that question was for you.
I'm sorry,
you're the mama for this is my family right here. So they can answer for me. You know what I mean?
I know.
Okay, we're gonna let Auntie answer that. Let Auntie answer.
I just wanted to jump in and say one of the things that she always says in the house is like, my role is just so each generation is supposed to do better than the next. She always says, I did better than my mom. Y'all supposed to do better than me. So go ahead, mom. I just wanted to.
And that's enough.
Come on, Auntie.
Right.
That's a lesson right there.
For moms. Yes. Black women.
Yes.
Get some class.
Some people don't even set that. I feel like in our community, that expectation is not set.
No.
It's not even set.
So, you know, speaking of like having $1 and having to spend it, you know, you get your tax return and everybody gets new sneakers. You know, my kids would tell you, like, you know, we did models. I wasn't. We want the ones, and don't get it twisted. We were in the hood. Yeah, it was okay.
Right.
But we want the ones that were the best dressed. We want the ones that, you know, because it was Easter, I was going to spend $100 on a 4-year-old. We're not doing that, because the minute that my OCD is gonna kick in when I see you dragging it on the floor.
Right. Hello. No, seriously. That's how I was raised.
I'm gonna have a fit. But at the same time, you know, you can come to my house and everything's working.
Right.
You know what I mean? That part.
And beautiful.
The furniture is paid for. You know, I don't have the fanciest car, but it's running.
But your home was always popping.
Right. But my home was always popping.
And we always had a meal, a hot one.
Right.
A good one.
So and I
she can make Spanish.
She can make some good sofrito, y'all. Y'all don't know this is the sofrito queen
garlic
right here.
sauce, rice and peas,
garlic sauce, Taco Tuesday loading.
We just went right
that part.
Taco Tuesday loading.
That part. So that was one takeaway.
Right.
The other takeaway was he reinvented me or reintroduced me to the book, The Richest Man in Babylon.
Richest Man in Babylon. Get it. I know she got it in her bag.
Wait, you know what's
Sage about to bring it out.
You know, this is horrible. And
she's so annoying. She carries books. She's a library. It's so annoying. She's ridiculously annoying.
You are ridiculous.
Nolly laughed at me.
Show the camera. Make sure you put it in the camera how annoying this really is. She got it. Look at this. Yo, put that in the camera. Yo, carries cameras. What the?
For real.
Richest, give me that.
I will tell you.
Richest man.
Have you finished it?
Well, no. Here's the thing. I have read this 10 years ago. Right.
Oh, that's why I said he reintroduced
I have a habit that when I read books, I give them out. I be wanting everybody to learn. You know, I'm like, me and Nadia are guilty of the same thing. We pass stuff along like, yo, read this, get this. You want everybody to have what you have.
Sage put me on like 5 books.
So when I actually just read, I took it out this week to read it once. When they referenced it at the dinner, for me to remember when I'm sitting in traffic opposed to being mad at traffic, I'm sitting there, I just pull out books and start reading. If I've got to wait for anything, I'm going to pull out a book and start reading. So I try. Well, no. Listen, road rage I won't get. I will feed my mind.
No, I'm right.
Okay, I mean, but that's not the only book. Finding my gratitude.
Look at you right now.
Let's just
and then I have my notes.
But show us the bag. Every cancer I know got a bag.
This was the most important book.
Social proof. Come on,
y'all. All my notes.
Come on. And I can attest, you keep that one on you. You had that one in art.
I do. But then I'm not going to pull out another book with my thoughts. So we can put these pages.
It's ridiculous. Speaking of passing it down. Go ahead. We still in Black History Month.
Yes.
And I took that opportunity. I was just talking to my daughter about it the other night. So I have 2 older grandchildren, 13 and 11.
Okay.
And I sent them to child. Yes.
She did. She just went to post office
financial literacy. Yay. And I'm sending it to them now because, see, I taught them when they were little, but now they're going to do better.
Yeah.
Right. You know what I'm saying? They're going to take that generational wealth to another level. Because a lot of it is, you know, for me, like I was telling her, I said I wasn't really that bright You know what I mean? I learned it the hard way. But I did that reading books of, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I did that with messing up with my credit. How do I fix this?
Right.
Sitting down with somebody, how do I fix this? Because if I fail, and I had a whole different mission at that point, but if I fail, my children fail. Yes, I'm saying, so we can't do that.
Right.
So how are we going to figure this out? And I was a single parent. Failure is not an option. That's just not an option.
Right.
And operating in faith and not fear.
Come on now.
Always.
Come on, Gems. Come on, Gems.
Faith and not fear.
Always.
And,
Fear all day.
reach for what you can grasp.
Right.
Yeah.
Don't go for the some of the people in the audience was like, oh, I want to make $50,000 a month. Your skill set. Let's reach for 20. I mean,
No,
I'm not,
seriously.
I'm just being serious.
But we're trying to go for the gusto.
And we can go for the gusto. I'm not trying to downplay anybody's dreams. But sometimes if you set those goals unrealistically, I'm going to lose 20 pounds in a week.
Yeah.
You're going to be discouraged when you don't meet those 20. You know what I'm saying? So if I reach for this much, I got it. Be realistic. You can be grateful and be appreciative and actually feel good about yourself because you got this far.
Right.
Now I can go this far.
That's right.
And she's been like that for a long time.
I love that.
She is. My mom has been like that for a long time. Like my mom would be like, even with picking college, like she's realistic about. She's like, well, hold on, let's talk about this. Are we going to the grocery store that's 3 miles away, or are we going to one that's 0.7? Because on the GPS, I'm like, you're right.
And I don't even trust the GPS. Listen, I'm like, I think GPS is taking you a long way, so you burn more gas.
Yeah, that's right.
She's always been like that. Mom has always been like that.
My dad is. I love it.
So anyway, that was my takeaway.
Listen, and that was a beautiful one, especially what you did for the grandkids. Because what I do understand is what Neo said this weekend. The seed that you plant will be the seed that you harvest.
Oh, the seed that you plant
will be the seed
that you harvest.
And I say that because that right there helped me realize and appreciate some things about myself that I generally don't appreciate. And that is, I think I said that before and put it on my page somewhere months ago, that I make decisions, you know what I mean, and live my life in a way that don't cause me to have any regrets.
That part.
That's most important to me.
If I fail, I fail.
Make decisions that will allow you to live a life you don't have to regret. Because that R is one that's on my wall. You know what I mean? Regret, broke, and fear is all on my board. Vision boards are the most powerful words to me. What do you fear? What do you regret in being broke? I don't want to be broken. I want to live my life in fear, and I don't want to live my life with regrets.
I like that. I like that. Really simple.
Really simple.
I like
just one more
part.
note. I did learn, again, it's still Black History Month. There's about 5 men in my family that I'm going to pass this book on to.
Okay.
About 5 brothers.
She made a list.
I made a list.
She made a list of all the Black men she's going to send this book to.
I am. And they're my sons.
And
my extended family, and they're readers. And if you're not a reader,
you know, audio. That's
audio.
what I do. Yeah, I got
you know what I mean. But even if you don't like the book, it's something that you can pass on, and it's you know what I mean. I thought about you. It's something that you can utilize. Long, you know.
I'm definitely get the audio.
2 of those, one of those was about the budget, and the other one was about our brothers and their mental health. You know, we don't really want to address that, but and this is not the platform, but that was something that I thought about.
What's the platform?
It's the platform.
That's the platform. Right. So we should be getting ready to bring our guests in remotely. And while we're doing that, are we good?
Yep. She's ready to go.
She's ready to go.
I'm excited for this one.
Yes, right?
There she is.
Hey. How are you? Joining us at this moment is Dr. Garner Scott. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm absolutely loving the conversation, you guys.
Oh, yay. We right up your alley.
Let's just do her just do really quick. I'm echoing, but Dr. Nicole Garner Scott is to me finance guru, yogi, Renaissance woman.
Come on now,
Joan of all trades, my financial planner, and just a queen, genius, someone who's been on my radar for years. And has came highly recommended by quite a few of my colleagues. So recently, got my life insurance. Nice
life insurance.
Yeah. So I'm feeling liberated, and I want everybody else to feel liberated too. But this is Dr. Nicole Garner Scott. Let's clap it up for her.
Hey.
Clap it up.
It's a little bit of
Yeah, they'll fix it in a sec, I'm sure. I have faith in the squad.
not that I mind hearing y'all voices twice.
No, I'm on.
So Dr. Scott, can you hear us okay?
I can hear you. It's a little delay though. Is it a delay on your end?
That's normal.
That's normal.
Right.
So, Dr. Scott, if you don't, if you would just, I want to ask you, how does mindset, have an importance in building wealth? Can you hear me? I think I lost my mic.
She's there. Can you hear us?
Dr. Scott?
We can't.
I lost the sound of Dr. Scott.
1 second, Dr. Scott. Okay, testing. Can you hear us?
Dr. Scott? Okay. Hold on.
I think our audio might be off. 1 second. Let me just, if you can see, 1 second.
Yes. They're ironing out the technology.
Okay, try it again.
Try it again. Dr. Scott?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we have you now.
We can hear you now.
Gotcha. Okay, let's repeat that question.
Can you hear us, Dr. Scott?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, so I was asking, how does mindset play a role in building wealth?
It plays a huge role, and I think that a lot of us get to a point where we don't give it enough credit. When Nadia was talking a little bit earlier just about things that she gathered in her childhood, that's when I was like, ooh, tap me in. Because childhood is where that narrative is formed, right? You have touched money since you were little. You remember some of your earliest memories of money. And so that narrative plays a large role into your adult life. A lot of the trauma that you experience, the financial PTSD, the stories, the narratives, the systematic emotions that have happened that plagued your former generations, the generations before that, all of that is a part of your money story. So there's a lot of healing that has to take place mindset-wise, even open you up to wealth. What's interesting is when Kisa was just talking about some of the tools that we've got her into just so that she can create generational wealth, so that she can look out for other generations. I run into a lot of people in our communities who are saying they really couldn't care about the next generation, right?
Wow.
Seriously?
When we think of our
I know,
we think of our parents.
That hurts.
Yes.
That does hurt.
Yeah.
Yes.
When we think of our parents, when we think of our grandparents and our great grandparents, everything we did was for the next generation.
That part.
And so something happened, something got lost as we start to come into these generations and generations after, where everyone is just about themselves and they're not. And exactly. They're not forward focused in that. So even getting mindset back to everything that you do wealth wise is not going to just be for you. It's going to be for your bloodline.
Yes. Come on now.
And getting that energy and getting that momentum back into that is very important too.
Yeah. I like that. Okay, Dr. Scott.
No, can we just take that in for a second?
Yes.
Wow.
I think the most important thing you just said, Dr. Scott, was the energy. I think, with money and mindset, it really is an intention. You have to really be intentional about what you pass on. Yeah.
There was a meme that I saw the other day that talked about all the things this person had come from a very harsh upbringing and felt like his kids were too spoiled. He felt like, I'm giving them too much, they're too spoiled. I need to show them what it means to grow up with nothing. And I was like, well, that in itself is passing on generational trauma, right? You don't have to take everything away from your kids. You don't have to make them suffer. That's not the goal of you having succeeded. For you to come into a space where your kids don't have to go through that trauma that you went through, why would you want to enact that on purpose? Right? And that was his trauma showing in that moment. And so many times when we're seeing people say, well, I came from nothing, or even when you see parents constantly remind their children, I didn't grow up with that, I didn't have that, I didn't such and such, you're passing on that generational trauma when it comes to their money narrative.
So Dr. Scott, what will be an appropriate way to discipline the kids and make them appreciate what you bring to the table that is different, that you didn't receive in your childhood? Because a lot of parents do that. I've been guilty myself. Let me be transparent with that. And I listened to a conversation, I believe, with Will Smith on Red Table Talk, him and Kevin Hart, saying that that's exactly what they did to their kids. Like, the struggle is what made us. These children didn't have to struggle. I can say I'm from Philly, but you from, he gave this suburban neighborhood. You don't know what it felt like to be punched in the face. So how do you do that?
Especially financially.
We do have a habit of taking things away from children when they don't appreciate it. How do we
Make them earn it?
So I think what's different for us is we have the ability to understand that kids understand things so much earlier in life. Future generations, you would kick kids out of the adult conversations. You would hide a lot from kids. And
don't make me cry up in here, Dr. Scott.
It wouldn't be until they got out on their own that they realized what the world was that they truly lived in. The thing of the nature is, I have a 3.5-year-old son. We're already talking about, I gave him a jar. It's a earn jar. This is how much money he earns. It's a give jar. So he knows to give. I'm already starting to put into
the 3 little pigs.
And then he has his save jar. And so many times we're only teaching our kids to spend and to save, right? Save is what everyone holds to their highest, utmost, but also that part of giving, right? And that makes money less transactional. When money is transactional, then you feel like it's owed to you, and you know,
entitlement
and those different things. But once a child starts to see that money is energy, currency is energy, and how you can, and the impact that you can truly make and value that you can truly make, then you don't have to whoop them. You don't have to take everything away from them. You don't have to, those lessons can be learned in another way where they can realize, hey, I can really do some change on this earth. I can really translate some things into another type of way.
Yeah. What about work ethic, Dr. Scott? Because I was always raised, I wasn't always rewarded, but for the most part I was. So I was like making my bed when I was 2 years old. I was washing dishes by 4. So I always had something to work towards, but I was always rewarded for it. But I feel like it as I got older, it kind of
disappeared. You don't make your bed anymore?
No, it's that's part of the DNA makeup now. But as I got into the real world, I just felt like, I don't know, how can I put this? Not that I was always supposed to be rewarded. I just always felt like I'm trying to put it into,
if I was a good employee, I should be
that you're not going to get something for nothing.
Kind of recognition.
And it made it hard for me to receive.
Got you.
Because I was so used to just work. You know what I mean?
Got you.
And that started young. So is that like, how do you instill work ethic in your children without crippling them when they get older and making them just like expect like
No, I understand what you're saying. It's a child. It's a case by case scenario, right? Every child is different.
Yes.
And recognizing how your child emotionally takes things in is very important. But the thing of the nature is you don't want to have every dollar attached to a reward, because when those rewards go away, then that person starts to lose their value, and they start to lose their sense of self-worth, right? And so, not to add anything dreary to the conversation, but through the pandemic, a lot of people have slipped into a deep level of depression because their sense of self-worth was tied to how much money they were bringing in,
Yes.
how much activity they were doing, etc. And they didn't develop that other muscle that says, outside of all of this, I still have value, I still have worth.
Yes.
So that's those conversations that you're having with your child. Even through my financial planning, I always remind the client, money is not the goal; it's just the tool. And when
Yes. Come on now.
It's a
you
tool. It's
Not the goal.
then you're not wrapping yourself into being a victim or a slave of it. You're recognizing, how do I best use this tool? Who do I surround myself with that understands how to properly use this tool for the goals that I'm trying to get to? But you don't want to have your child so deeming of worth attached to that reward system that when that reward system ultimately goes away, they have nothing else to fall back on. There's so many statistics about with Black wealth, how it never lasts more than 2 generations, right? So if you have
That hurt
dollar
me.
family, yep, you have a multi-million-dollar family, then at most they're kids, but after that it doesn't transcend, right? And that's because there's so many emotions tied into it. There's so many things that are in place to safeguard it from that. But you look at like a Rockefeller family, and their
They've
family
been
is
around forever.
still right, and they're still their wealth is still transpiring unto this day. You look at the Hilton family. You look at some of the other families and their wealth, because they safeguard it in that type of way, and they recognize the thing is. And I keep saying Nadia because some of the things Nadia said really stuck with me. But the thing is, when Nadia said that uh, a lot of things were tied to emotion for her, that's how money's going to be that way. Money brings out money emotion no matter what. Like it just, you can't stop that. So what you want to do for your family and for your bloodline is safeguard the money from emotion, from emotional behavior. Put the money into tools, put the money into proper planning that will keep them, because the emotion's going to happen. Everyone, there's so many people that feel like their children are their retirement plan. And then they get to that age and their children be like, I don't really fool with you like that.
No, she's
I had
listen.
somebody recently
Dr.
say
Garner,
that to me.
she's spot on.
So right.
At
Somebody recently said that to
the
me.
David just spoke about that this week, that a lot of children are living through their children. One of his guests spoke of that and was like, stop doing it.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And so, and you don't want to, you're not going to be superhuman, right? Your emotion's going to be tied to it. So you just put things in place that when your emotion comes out, it doesn't matter. You can let yourself naturally be human, naturally feel the emotion, but you have things working on your behalf to make sure that that doesn't deter you from getting to the ultimate goal.
Self-discipline.
Come on, words of wisdom.
Mom, go ahead and say it.
Words of
Self-discipline
wisdom.
is self-love.
Self-discipline is self-love. I have a question. What, first of all, you touched on so many things. And my mind's like, what?
She's great, right?
I'm trying to answer all my questions.
I'm like, yeah, she's great.
Yeah, she is. First of all,
I can't hear.
I'm being a little selfish with my question I'm about to ask. Dr. Scott, can you hear us now?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay.
All right. Ooh, we got you back. It's a lot of energy you just put there, so we lost you.
You done mess with the vocal cords.
Right, you just messed with the vocals. But nah, Dr. Scott, you just said so many gems. And my question is going to be a little selfish here for the millennials, but you talked about generational understanding is really what I got from you. So I want to know, what are the mistakes, the biggest mistakes you see people in their 30s and under making with their finances?
That's a good question.
I think for millennials, Generation Z, etc., you don't realize how much power you have in being young. So you have the power of compound interest, right? Like you have a large runway ahead of you where your money can make money for you. Whereas by the time you start getting into your 50s and your 60s, it kind of starts to be, it is what it is, unless you get a big lever that pulls for you, or you come into something that you weren't expecting. But when you're in your 20s, you can really set yourself all the way up. You can put some things in place. You can start to make your money make money for you. You can lock in your insurability, right? Like there's a lot of wealth that's transferred through insurance, through a whole life insurance. But by the time there's things in place, by the time you have serious health issues, you can't qualify for it anymore. If someone, is incarcerated, they can't qualify for it anymore. Like life happens, right? So before life happens, lock those things in that takes care of the future you. And when you do that, you're in such a better position. When you're in your 20s, you can put a few dollars away a month, and that will set you up because of compound interest. When you're in your 50s, you got to start asking family members, like, are y'all going to hold me down? Am I going to be good? Like, what is
We don't want to do that, Dr. Scott.
Right.
We're going to learn now.
Even after retirement,
To retirement, yeah.
So, to follow up with that question, you often talked about the importance of having a money team. So I want to know all about that money team. That got me excited.
Yes. No, and that's to piggyback off of what you guys were talking about earlier, just the people that you're starting to put into your life. When you get real intentional about your goals, what it is you're trying to do, what you're accomplishing, you put those proper people in place. And for some of us, we've taken the time to put a life coach in place. We put a spiritual coach in place.
Come on.
We put mentors in place, all these different things. For some reason, when it comes to money, we just keep going to YouTube.
Come on now. Come on now. Give her some. Wait, I can't even. That's
right.
Give my claps. I'm ready to swallow this microphone.
And that's why she's a doctor. Love it. No, you're right. YouTube University.
Yeah. Right. There's things that, and the thing is, I do love that there's a lot of conversation happening, because there's a level of people becoming very awake to that there has to be more. There has to be more to my planning. There has to be more to life. But the only thing that's missing is a lot of the information has to be customized to your life, right? You cannot tell a single mother who has multiple kids, and she might be going through her emergency fund. She might not have any money left. You can't tell her, take your last dollar and go invest it over here, because she has no lifeline. right? They're like she is the lifeline of her family. So when you're giving out that blanketed advice, you're not taking into account what the people are who are listening to you. What is their unique scenario? What's their unique situation? And that's a big part of how you formulate things to make sure that it works for you. There's a lot of actually a good amount of my clients are women who've recently gotten divorced through the pandemic. And the pandemic brought out a lot in everyone, right? It unearthed whatever didn't have a solid foundation. Or it showed you the true size of people, or just there was a lot that happened during the pandemic. And a lot of the women who were divorced, they came into a space where they let their husband or their significant other or whoever they were paired with handle all the finances. Even now, we used to think that generationally that's what our grandparents did. But even now, it's very common that a lot of people are like, you know what, I don't want to deal with the money. Somebody else handle the money. But the thing is, you have to empower yourself in these moments. You got to have your own financial person. You gotta come to the financial meeting with the whoever. These decisions can't be made without you. And even if there's no significant other, bring in your parents, bring in your kids. Everybody in the family got to be on the same page.
So Doc,
go.
Not to bring up the advice, what you're saying is valid, but I think for young people, it's hard to afford things. You know what I'm saying? Like, I go through this with insurances. I gotta have the car insurance to drive here, right? But do I really gotta have health insurance right now? And I gotta have a money team, but do I gotta have a financial coach? Can I afford that? And live in downtown Atlanta and drive this and go invest in my whatever? Like, how do we afford to put money in our life? You know what I'm saying?
You can't afford not to.
You can't
afford not to.
Okay. But Dr. Scott, before you continue to answer that question, I just need to add that Auntie Eve just said you can't afford not to. Yeah. Come on now.
Find a way to make one.
You can't afford not to.
So perfect question.
Find a way to make one. That's the Clark Atlanta way.
HBCU.
In regards to that statement, the thing of the nature is, when you're in your 20s, you have to really get serious about what type of life you really want to see yourself. Many of us in our 20s feel like it's okay to live on the edge because we're pursuing passions, right? And so we're grinding all the way down to, I don't mind sleeping on someone's couch. I'll work for a reduced amount of pay. I will do whatever it takes to get myself through the door. But the thing is, what you can watch in real time on social media now is people who made those decisions in their 20s, it stuck with them in their 30s and it followed them to their 40s. At some point, you have to get very clear on what is the life you're trying to design for yourself. And you have got to create that breathing room. That breathing room is a necessity. One, if you live life on the edge, all the way to the edge, all the way to your last dollar, you're gonna build a life that's consumed with living on the edge, right? You're never going to allow yourself to spread your wings, to dream bigger, to go further, because your whole life is based on you living on the edge. So you want to figure out what it takes to create that breathing room. And millennials, Generation Z, create money out the air like no one else.
Right. Listen.
That part.
Good. That part. Dr.
You getting paid for TikTok? Seriously?
We have to invite you back soon for an hour.
Yes,
we got to wrap it up because we're running out of time. But before we go, the importance and the purpose of this show is actually to empower and uplift our culture and community. What are some of the service and products that you can offer our community to help do just that?
Yeah, definitely. So just integrative financial planning, goal-based planning, understanding where you are and where you want to go and getting you there. So from risk management, just like Kisa said, from insurance products to disability to long-term care, things we aren't thinking about all the time in our community, all the way to having our whole team sit down and figure out everything you need from a long-term perspective. So yeah, I invite you to, you know what, even if you feel like you might not be ready for a money team right now, you should still make it your homework to start sourcing those people and figuring out those people and having conversations with those people.
I'm ready, and I will force and figure. I will force and figure.
Then the goal is not to wait till you get the money to put yourself in the right position. The goal is to know the money is coming on the way, and you already are ready to part.
Come on. Clap it up for Dr. Garner Scott.
Dr. Scott, can't wait to see you
I will
Thursday.
definitely reach out to you via social media.
Yes.
This is 3 generations sitting here, family at this table, and we building our money team, and we're setting out to build generational wealth for our family, and Keisha is a part of our family too.
Yeah, we're all
So definitely, Dr. Garner, thank you. God bless.
Yes, God bless. Peace.
Follow y'all. Thank you so much, Dr.
Tune in next week, Monday, but let's talk about it. Thanks for tuning in.
No, I don't want to go.
Right?